Hi everyone, it's Alyssa. Happy Star Wars Day! I'm so sorry that we are not together to be able to celebrate, but today I'm going to bring you a Star Wars inspired, or I should say Jedi inspired, deep stretch class. So the thing about the Jedi that that we don't really hear about in the movies is this something called the Jedi Code. Yes, I know, uber nerd. And I'm okay with it. But the Jedi Code is, there is no emotion, there is peace. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. There is no passion, there is serenity. There is no chaos, there is harmony. There is no death, there is the Force. So we're going to move from this idea of peace, knowledge, serenity, harmony, in unison with the Force. Yeah. All right, so let's get started in child's pose. Please have books or a block nearby. It'll help with a shoulder opener. Not required, but very helpful. So starting with our big toes together, knees wide, sit the hips back towards the heels, nice and tall on the spine. Hinge forward from the hips. Reach the arms really long. Tent the fingers, walk them even further forward. And then sink the hips back even more. And then let the forearms come down to the floor. Let the forehead rest. So take a few breaths here in your child's pose. From this space, just begin to tap in with your breath. And as you tap into the breath, feel a lightness and an ease. Step into the oneness with, as you define it, the Force. The energy that surrounds us and binds us. Just feel that. And then as you take your next inhale, retent the fingers, round the upper back, and slowly walk yourself up to sit. Now, if you can continue to sit comfortably on your heels, feel free to do that. Otherwise, cross the legs and sit in Sukhasana, easy seat. Sit tall in the spine from here. And then allow the chin to fall down towards the chest. So as we move today in this deep stretch, we move from a place of serenity, of knowledge of one's body. As you inhale, roll ear to shoulder. Bring the back of the head back just a little bit more, and you'll feel the neck open up ever so slightly. Finding some harmony, finding some peace. Rolling to the other side, chin towards the chest, opposite ear to shoulder. Finding that peace. Just resting peacefully. And then exhale, one more time, chin into chest. Slowly inhale, lift the chin, rolling the head. And then once you get there, roll the shoulders a few times. So we're going to move into a shoulder opener. So our focus this morning is really opening through the whole heart, through the shoulders, through the chest. So bring the hands forward. So we're going to, in that bring the hands forward, wrists, elbows, shoulders, same height. Draw the shoulder blades back and down. And then bend the elbows so that the elbow is the same height as the shoulder. Bring the palms of the hands together. Bring the forearms as close together as we can. So normally, I would encourage us, if we can't get the forearms together, to squeeze a block there. The books tend to be a little heavier than that block. So if you have a book at home, I would avoid that. However, if you have that block, feel free to use that block between the forearms if you struggle to get there. Shoulders down and back. Elbows stay lifted. Pressing in. Take a full breath in. Exhale, release. Bring the tented fingertips behind you. Open the chest up towards the ceiling. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Lift the chest. Lift the rib cage. Take a big breath in. And then exhale, release. Roll the shoulders a few times. Great. So adding from there, inhale, reaching the arms forward. Cross one arm on top of the other. Put a bend into the elbows. Bring the backs of the arms together. If you can find the full bind, take that front hand and wrap it around the forearm. Now, if this is ridiculous to you, release the arms and come back to forearms. Just worry about forearms. Just worry about working the elbows towards each other. Find that gentle breath. That knowledge of knowing when too far is too far. Breathe. And then gently release the arms. Bring the fingertips behind you once again. Press into the fingertips. Lift the rib cage, the chest, and the chin. Big breath. Gentle arch in the back. No more than you would do in a cow pose. And then slowly bring yourself back to center. Switching sides. So opposite arm on top. Bend the elbows, backs of the arms together. Shoulders, blades down and back. Wrap the forearms around. Or don't. Right? Remember all of your options. And then once you're there, once you're in that pose, do the pose fully. Completely do the pose. Right? So don't try it. Do it to the extent that you can. Right? Doing the pose doesn't mean tying ourselves in a pretzel because when our body doesn't want to go there. Get into your variation, your edge, and stay in that space. Take a full breath in. And as you exhale, release the hands, fingertips behind you, press into the fingertips, lift the chest, lift the chin. And then relax down. So we're going to come back to that child's pose, but we're going to have those blocks or books nearby. So take the books either side by side or the block side by side. So nice wide in the knees, hips back towards heels, arms reach forward, and we're going to put the blocks underneath our elbows. So from here, the forehead may rest on the books or the block, and that's totally okay. Put a bend into the elbows and point the fingers towards the ceiling, and let the forehead melt towards the blocks or the floor. Opening up the chest, opening up the shoulders. So why the chest? Why the shoulders? Why opening this heart space? Energetically, the heart is the center, energetically, of the body. So taking these moments to find our center, to find our breath in the middle, to find calm and chaos, peace, knowledge, serenity, harmony, the force. Take one more big breath in, one more full breath out, and then press into the elbows, walk the hands to the floor, move the blocks or the books out of the way. We're actually not going to need them again. Come to hands and knees and move through a few rounds of cat-cow just to take the tension out of the head, the neck, the shoulders. All right, that's a fair amount that we've done there. So take rolling through the spine, one vertebrae at a time, from bottom to top. Just gently find that breath. After your next rounded back cat, find a nice long spine. Get the shoulders away from the ears. Lift the belly button towards the spine. So pick up that right hand and place the right hand directly underneath the face. Inhale the left arm up into the air, find a big twist. Exhale, thread the arm under and reach for your rib cage. Inhale, left arm reaches. Exhale, round the spine and reaches for the rib cage. Inhale, last time, lift it up. This time, exhale, thread it all the way down. So try and get as much of the back of the left hand on the floor. Right hand is in front of the face. So a couple options with our thread the needle. So traditional thread the needle, hips directly over the knees. If you'd like a bit more of a restorative approach, take the knees a little wider, sink the hips back a little bit further. Next option could be taking this right hand, reaching it up into the air, or potentially threading and holding onto the left inner thigh. And wherever you are, rest in that space. And wherever you are, do the pose. Don't try it. Do your variation. Keep that breath nice and steady. Be in this place. As you take your next inhale, reach that right arm up. Allow the right hand to come immediately in front of the face. Press into that hand. Left arm rises up into the air. And then lower that left hand down to the floor. A few rounds of cat-cow here. So inhaling and exhaling. And feel the difference between your left hand side and your right hand side. Not just your shoulders, but your back. How does that feel different as you flow? And then transitioning to the other side, finding that tabletop position, placing the left hand directly in front of the face. Inhale, reaching up into the air. Exhale, threading the arm through. Dropping down onto the cheek. So find that steady breath. Rest the cheek on the floor. Pressing into the hand. Right, so options. Remember, you can take a little bit of a balasana child's pose variation and sink the hips a little further back. You can stay here. You can reach the arm up into the air, thread it behind, and then find your variation and stay in your breath. Keep it simple. Allow softness here. Keep it steady. Keep the breath at ease. Keep the mind at ease. Gently allowing the left arm to come up and around, pressing into the floor, sliding that right hand out and up. Let's do a few twists here. Thread it through, reach for the rib cage. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, reach it through the rib cage. One last time. Inhale, reaching it up. Exhale, bring the hand down to the floor and move through a few rounds of your cat-cow. Keep the breath steady as you flow. Keep the breath even as you move. And then bring yourself to stillness. And once in that stillness, bring the big toes together, knees wide, sink the hips back towards the heels. Child's pose once again. Allow the heart to truly melt towards the floor. Wiggle the rib cage in between the thighs. Like really hug them down in there and let the forehead melt towards the floor. And then find a few easy breaths. Continuing to add, continuing to build from here. So option to stay here or to press into the hands, walk the knees in a little bit closer so that the shins and the knees are parallel. Wrap the arms around and hold on to the heels and let the forehead rest on the floor. option to stay there, take a breath in, or to move into rabbit pose. So holding onto the heels in rabbit pose, we roll ourselves onto the top of the forehead, using the heels to kind of be our bumper to stop us from rolling any further forward. And then breathe into the upper back. Find some gentleness here. Feel the upper back round and open. So if this doesn't work for you or doesn't work for your neck, find gentleness in your child's pose. If you're in this pose, find gentleness here. And then as you exhale, slowly lower the hips back down to the floor. Walk the hands underneath the shoulders. Press yourself up into that tabletop position. And we're going to take a nice wide stance on our mat. So open the legs nice and wide. Keep the head down. So toes point forward, feet nice and wide. Press into the fingertips, tent those fingers, and inhale, halfway lift. So drag the crown of the head forward. And as we exhale, drop the crown of the head down. So feel the hamstrings open up here. Take a few gentle breaths. And then bringing the hands to the hips, inhale, reach the head halfway lift forward. So reach the crown of the head forward. And then slightly bring the arms behind you and interlace or interweave the fingers behind you. As you exhale, drop the crown of the head towards the floor. Either stay here with your hands bound or work towards bringing the palms of the hands together. Or from there, if you can keep the palms of the hands together, straighten the arms and reaching them towards the floor. And breathe. Unlock the elbows. Breathe through the chest. Find some simplicity. Don't overthink it here. Let this pose just be. Wanted to get you up off your hips. Wanted you to open up your hamstrings a little bit. Feel that kneeling as we sit back, we open up the quadriceps. We tighten up through the hamstrings. As you exhale, release the arms down towards the floor. Palms of the hands press into the floor. Tent the fingers. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. All right, then swing yourself back around to a tabletop position, and from that tabletop, as always, as we land a few rounds of cat-cow, take that tension out of the body. And then we're going to slowly lower ourselves all the way down onto the floor. Let's start in Makrasana. So from here, we're going to stack the hands. Rest the forehead on the hands and rest for a moment. If we need to, we can stay here or put a bend into the knees and windshield wipe the heels from side to side, or keep the shins on the floor and rock the hips from side to side. Whichever feels right for you. Take a breath in. As you take your next inhale, slowly walk yourself up to Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx, the shoulders are stacked on top of the elbows. We're going to press our palms of the hands into the floor and then lift into the belly. So it's not just an arch in the back and lifting the heart, but we're also going to lift the belly just slightly off the floor. And you're going to find a little bit of a taller rise there. Shoulders away from the ears, spine nice and long. Gently untuck the pelvis. So we have this tendency to press the belly into the floor and find laziness there. So as we lift the belly towards the spine, gently glide the lower back a little bit longer. Breath in and breath out. And then as we exhale, slowly lower yourself down, but bring the hands underneath the shoulders and using the lower back, lift yourself up into a low cobra pose. Full breath in. Can you tent the fingers to open the chest a little bit more? Can we do this without pressing into the arms and pressing yourself back? just using the lower back to breathe. As you take an exhale, lower the forehead back towards the floor, find your Makrasana. Find some ease. And then walk the arms behind you, press the fingertips into the floor. And as we press the fingertips into the floor next to the hips, walk the fingertips a little further back as we lift the chest. Big breath in. Either stay here or interlace the fingers behind the back and lift the knuckles. Pressing the knuckles towards the feet. Finding that steady breath. Finding that ease. And then as you exhale, release the hands, bring them back around, and find Makrasana once again. And rest in your breath. Find that steadiness. Find a gentleness here. Find an ease. If you need to, windshield wipe the heels from side to side. And then we'll begin to move into a rolling cobra. So bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, roll the shoulders as you lift yourself up, and then roll the shoulders as you lower down. Roll the shoulders as you lift up, and roll the shoulders as you come down. One more time. Roll the shoulders as we come up, and roll the shoulders as we come back down. And then lifting the torso, walk the hands nice and wide, like 45-degree angle away, tent the fingers. Press into the fingertips to lift. And then flatten the palms with that same amount of gentleness. We're not pressing firmly into the hands. And then perhaps we stay here if this is our edge, or come back to Sphinx if that's your edge. Or begin to walk the hands closer and closer towards you, coming into seal. And as we do this, relax the shoulders, not only the heads of the shoulders away from the ears, but the shoulder blades down the back. So here's that importance of lifting the belly towards the spine. Find that ease. Find that breath. Relax the face, relax the jaw. Harmony, simplicity, serenity, peace. Lift the belly a little bit so we're not crunching in the lower back. And then with control, lower yourself all the way back down. Come back to Makrasana. Bend into the knees, rock the heels from side to side. Gentle, simple, taking that tension away. And from here, our last heart opener. So pressing into the hands, lift yourself up onto hands and knees. So from hands and knees, again, a few more rounds of cat-cow, just to round the spine, paying a little bit more attention there. And then from here, tuck the toes under and come to stand on your knees. So as we stand on the knees, inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, cartwheel the hands back, make fists, and press those fists into the top of the pelvis. So you'll feel underneath the knuckles, the bone of the top of the pelvis. So we're going to press gently there and point the elbows straight back behind us. As we do this, inhale, open the chest, and lift the chin, and breathe. So this is our first step towards Ustrasana, or camel pose. Keep the right fist at the right hip, and either allow the left hand to come down to the floor, or perhaps even reach it up and back. And breathe. And then relax that hand back down. Bring that fist back. Bring yourself up to neutral. Untuck the toes if you need to. Child's pose if you need to, just for 2 or 3 breaths. Centering in. And then returning to the tuck of the toes, making those fists, press the knuckles into the back of the fists. Inhale, lift the chest. Stay there. Or perhaps reach that right hand down, capturing the right heel, or reaching the right arm up and back. Finding gentle breaths. Let the breath continue to move. Find a little bit of ease. And then gently release that hand down, finding the back, bringing the big toes together, and allowing yourself to sit down. Allow the arms to soften, allow the chest to soften, allow the eyes to close. Take a moment here to moderate your breath and to be aware of your heartbeat. Just gently breathe into that space. And then slowly bring yourself around and down onto your back. Bring the knees gently into the chest. And then bring the soles of the feet to the floor nice and wide. Take the arms out to a T. Tic-tac the knees from side to side. And then allow both knees to fall over to the left and stay there. Just breathe. And then bring the knees towards center line and then drop them over to the other side. And then bring the knees back to center. Allowing one hand to rest on your heart and one hand to rest on your belly. Slowly extend the legs all the way out, coming into your Shavasana. And letting yourself rest here fully. In this rest, there is no emotion. There is peace. There is no ignorance. There is knowledge. There is no passion. There is serenity. There is no chaos. There is harmony. There is no death. There is the force. Rest here as long as you choose. Namaste.